your cornerstone program is what you call Merdeka Belajar. And I think it's free education freedom, really learning to be free, almost is the way I would translate it. What issues in the Indonesian education system are you trying to address with this phrase Merdeka Belajar? What are you trying to accomplish with that? What's the overall framework?
So Merdeka Belajar, I would think. But first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a real privilege. Thank you, Lynn. Merdeka Belajar, if I may create a slight modification to the translation, I would translate it, even though this is not a perfect translation, to emancipated learning. So emancipated learning would be, I think, a more appropriate translation for what that means. Merdeka is our kind of national credo post-independence, right? Emancipation, freedom, and so on. So it has meaning. It has a heritage, that term, to what we are. And the philosophy of our founding fathers is actually what we're returning back to. And so that relevancy and the shift towards project-based learning, I think, is going to be extremely important. The shift towards slight different take to this, or participatory learning, whereby education is a multivariable discussion or interaction between teacher and student, mentor and mentee, with a variety of sources that can be accessed digitally or otherwise, is going to be that next big move. The unbundling, or basically the removal of the tyranny of a single textbook, I think, is going to be that next thing that we want to emancipate learning from. We also want to emancipate learning from one of the, I think, for me, the most frustrating thing about educational systems, which is the one-size-fits-all philosophy that basically dictates that everyone kind of has to study something at a certain age. Nobody cares if like 50% of the class don't understand it. The class has to move on. Let's go on to the next thing, on to the next year, and so on. Keep moving these kids along. In the meantime, some kids are falling behind 2-3 years. They don't understand because it's scaffolding and they can't get to the next level. So those kids get labeled as, not smart enough or are left behind. This other concept of emancipation is emancipation from uniformity. And the opposite of that is segmentation and personalization, and the ability, the freedom for teachers to be able to move up and down the curriculum as they deem fit, as is appropriate to the level of competency and the speed of which a child learns. An individual child learns, not a class, not a grade. And I think with technology or just with teachers who care, this is a real possibility. All it takes is a teacher and a system that cares, and a system that doesn't punish teachers for actually moving back and moving up in the curriculum as they see fit. And similarly, a lot of students also are well more advanced and completely bored in class because they already understand it. They don't want to keep repeating the same thing again. So they want to go forward. So with a little bit of adaptation, with a little bit of inspiration, you can create a far more segmented, far more personalized learning path for every individual. I think that's going to be another big change or shift that we're going towards. And finally, we want to emancipate people from the tyranny of the standardized test. We understand that you need selection filters to get into the best universities. So the only thing that we are okay with is high stakes testing for university level. We have removed completely high stakes testing at the elementary, middle school, and high school level. In Indonesia is the first thing that we did when I joined this position. For 20 years, we've been having this debate. And so I removed that exam completely, and we replaced it with a new assessment, which is much closer to like the PISA, but it is not high stakes whatsoever. It is a snapshot of the educational quality of that school. And that information is used as formative feedback. Nobody gets punished. No teachers get deducted pay for it. No students don't get to pass, etc., which is a ludicrous idea to try to kind of tie teachers' performance or pay packages or bonuses based on student outcomes or to tie students' future to whatever standardized test they score. These tests are simply to know where the snapshot is and to let the government know who needs more help and who can help us, right? That's what a national assessment should be about. It should be about formative feedback, not punitive summative assessment, let alone determining the future of a kid.
This is really interesting to hear from an AmCham point of view, because we represent most of the leading U.S. Companies in Indonesia, and those companies have wanted to get involved, a number of them, and I know that they've gone through some struggles in the past, but that now things are opening up. I mean, HP, for example, is with us tonight. They're one of the sponsors of the summit. They have a program to help create the kind of modern Industry 4.0 friendly digitized classroom. They have a terrific pilot program that's underway. I look around the room and I see that Citibank is here. Citibank is an educational institution all by itself. It's been educating bankers in Indonesia and other countries for generations. The oil companies, Freeport and engineering, a number of companies have really been participating in this. And unfortunately, they've felt, I think the American companies have been a little bit isolated. Like, this was called CSR, not education. And it had a different label to it. But what you're talking about is really a different way of viewing this. And so if you could—
Lynn, can I just comment on that?
Yes,
can I comment on that? Because I love what you said there. I just wanted to jump on that. And in every one of these sessions that I have with all the industry leaders in every sector, I made it very clear that, and I went and I just said it as it is. I said, I'm not interested in any of your CSR programs. I'm not interested at all in it, because if you join Campus Merdeka, I want you to join selfishly for your business reasons to acquire the best talent possible. If you're not looking for that, then don't bother participating. It's fine. You don't have to participate, because we are not looking for philanthropy. We are looking for selfish business interest. Well, you can call it selfish, but just say like for-profit interest in gaining the best young talent in Indonesia. How else are you going to do that? By getting the best, the cream of the crop to come work in your company for free for 6 months and being able to assess their talent. How else are you going to do that? So that was my ultimate pitch to them. And that's when suddenly now we have like 300 new mini universities in each of these companies. Because of course we had some incentives and we funded the students, we gave them scholarships so that they can move to big cities, etc., and increase access. But I love what you said, Lynn. Like, this is not sustainable as a CSR program. It has to be a business objective recruitment so that it's permanent. It's permanent.
How ready are the frontline educators, the teachers in the schools? How ready are they for the kind of transformative process that you've outlined? And how do you get them ready? How do you get the teachers to go from kind of yes ma'am to let's learn together, let's do projects, let's do a more holistic approach? How do you get
right there? That's a really great question. Forgive me for what I'm about to say, because I'm always very blunt. The second part of the question is the correct question to answer. The first part of the question is irrelevant. And this is one of the most frustrating things that I had to kind of keep convincing people, because you know what the counter argument to all of this is? We don't believe that Indonesian teachers are ready for this. So the assumption somehow is that if teachers are not thinking creatively about their curriculum and co-creating their curriculum, the assumption is that if teachers are not innovating and trying different things at their classroom level, that somehow they can still create quality learning. This is erroneous. There is no system of learning in the world that is didactic and works. So it doesn't matter what the average level of competency of an educational system is. That question is not relevant. Very good teachers or not so good teachers, either way, they all have to do a much more participatory and innovative style of learning for their children, no matter if they are great teachers or not so great teachers. So this counter argument that has no relevance to where the ready is. So it's as if we're saying this: for the not so great teachers, let's just tell them what to teach. And even though they don't fully understand why they're teaching that, they just have to deliver like a robot, a particular curriculum, and somehow we expect our children to learn. No, this is an erroneous assumption. Learning is a function of reinterpretation of curriculum by the teachers. Learning is a function of teachers that truly believe in the growth potential of their students. So there's no shortcut to this. There's no shortcut. There's no like hack you can go around to this. You actually have to do the hard work, no matter where the starting level of the teacher is, in actually introducing new mindsets and principles at a school level. At the fundamentally, what educational transformation is cultural transformation.